Hello, my name is Kyle, and welcome to the Green Outdoors podcast.
I'm AJ.
Wow.
Man, dude.
It's as if...
That's insane.
What number is... This is podcast number 152.
152.
152.
You did the intro wrong. I got confused.
As soon as you mixed up a word, I threw that mic out.
Get it away from me.
Where am I?
Yeah. Keep in mind, I've got the old double lung pneumonia right now, and that's not actually an exaggeration. So I am going to probably do less speaking on this podcast than normal, and we're all, yay!
Double barrel pneumonia.
Yeah, the old double barrel. And I went and picked up my antibiotics on Friday, and then when I was there, they were like, I've never seen this before. They go, oh, we only have enough to fill you through Sunday, and I'm supposed to take them for like 10 days. So they're like, you'll have to come back Monday and pick up the other, what the other portion of it. I was
Really?
like, yeah, I've never heard of that.
That's a new thing with pharmacies. A lot of them just don't have the stock like they once did anymore. I mean, it's a whole thing all over the place.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
Hmm.
You either got to like find your pharmacy and stick with it and hope that they are always in stock.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Do we know what that's from?
I don't know what it's from, but I've heard from multiple people that it's a growing thing where I've always gone to Walgreens or whatever, but then one day they just didn't have the stock. You know,
That's weird.
Never heard of a partial fill before. That's
Yep.
wild.
Yep.
What
How
always
am I going to get my Vicodin?
what always
Percocet.
what always amazes me is like you'll get prescribed some off the wall thing for something highly specific, and they're like, yeah, we'll have it in an hour.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, you want amoxicillin? Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Experimental cancer drug. Here you go.
Yeah, we got that.
What are you using it for?
There was talk in the whole Trump thing about the fact that we don't make any of our own medicines here.
Yeah.
And that if there was another big pandemic or war or something like that, we don't make any medicine here, and we need to start again.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Definitely be a positive to have our own supply.
When I was picking up the other portion of it today, I was there, and there's a credit union in VG's where I went, and I like overheard this big guy in a hoodie, and he's looking at there's a big guy in a hoodie. And he's looking at this other guy who at the first second I thought was our friend Ed. And he goes, listen here, mother effer. I will rip you out of here if you say another word. Said it to the Ed guy.
In the middle of the store?
Is he a teller?
They were up, no. They were both up talking to tellers as customers. And I was like, oh, crap, because at first I thought it was Ed, so I stopped. I'm like, am I going to have to fight right now? Because if it's Ed, I got to jump in. But then I hear the guy go, like like the Ed-looking guy is like murmuring on his phone. He goes, I said, shut your effing mouth. You are not to disrespect people because you think you're so freaking great. You think you're so amazing. You're nothing. You don't get to disrespect people like that. And he's like, I will rip you out of the store and show you what respect is. So,
All right.
So it was actually the big guy in the hoodie
Was the hero.
was the hero in it.
Oh,
and you
okay.
could tell like on the staff's face that they were like, thank you.
So this guy was clearly disrespecting the staff.
Yeah, he was like in a nice suit, the Ed-looking guy. And not that, I mean, I wear suits. That doesn't mean it,
And
but
you cuss people out.
yeah. And so it was funny to see like what I first thought, and then what it was.
Yeah.
And then I like got the prescription, walked back by. They were both still there picking up stuff, but they weren't talking at all anymore.
Oh, man.
Heroes wear hoodies. All right.
Why can't your
It
doctor
was a
just
pink hoodie, by the way.
Why can't your doctor just prescribe you the infamous pink drink from our youth?
Oh yeah, the amoxicillin. Oh,
We'll
the
take it
stuff
all
that
day.
tastes so good.
We'll take it all day.
Another interesting interaction I had today. I went to get my comprehensive lab for blokes.
Nice.
To get my peptides going.
Nice.
And I'm walking out of the lab after getting blood drawn, so I'm a little like, normally I don't get impacted by giving blood.
They take some vials, though.
I struggled. Yeah, they do like 75 tests or something like that with this blood, so they took a good bit. And as I'm walking out, I'm like, I'm a little lightheaded. I'm probably going to sit in the car for a minute. But as I'm walking in the parking lot, lady, maybe 65 years old, walks past me. I don't think anything of it. After I've already passed her, she goes, I like your haircut. Now, meanwhile, I'm not wearing a hat, so I'm bald. I assume she's not talking to me.
Yeah. Why would
So
you?
I turn around to see who
Yeah,
she's
that would
talking
make
to,
no sense.
and she's looking at me. And I'm like,
You're talking to me right now?
thank you. She goes, I don't know. It wasn't like a joke. I think it's sexy.
What? No. No.
And I'm like, I don't know what to say here. This is a older woman flirting with me. I don't know what this is. So I go, thank you very much.
He actually went like this. He goes, thank you very much.
I hope you have a great day. Like that was, and then I just walked to my car and sat there for a minute like, what is this?
But you weren't wearing a hat, or were you?
No, I wasn't wearing a hat.
So you're just
bald.
free balling it.
Yep.
And she liked
And she
that
said
haircut.
haircut.
She likes that haircut, which I've
It's really
never
messed
heard
up,
of
though, to-
bald as being called a haircut.
To have a
said
woman
sexy.
open up with a lie is
And then-
like,
Yeah, but then it was like, it took her a second, and maybe that was the only word she could come up with, and she wanted to make sure she didn't like, no, I didn't mean it as an insult, and then she landed on sexy, and I'm like,
Did
well,
she
this
just give
is-
18 vials of
this
blood?
is
too?
now much worse. No, she was walking into the lab.
That's insanity.
So I was like,
you're
this
wondering
is-
too is like, was sexy where she started? Like, was that her plan the whole time was to say that? You know what I mean? Or was it like she got lost in the way? You know what I mean? Like in the sentence.
I was wearing my nice black coat. I looked pretty good today.
If I do say so
myself.
Jinx, double jinx, now we got a kiss.
Thank
Oh,
you,
you're going to
lady.
get pneumonia for it.
That's wild.
Worth it.
Rain track.
Yeah, very bizarre interaction.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I'm not going to do the craziest segue that ever existed, but crazy interaction. Right now, there's a lot of people talking about there's a YouTuber that got arrested in India because he went to North Sentinel Island.
Yeah.
And so, for those of you who don't know, it's an island very close to India, and it's the people that live there. I've heard a lot of guesstimates on the number of people. I've heard anywhere from 500 to 50, and I've heard a lot of people guess around the 150 range. But the island itself isn't small, so they really don't know how many people are there.
Mm-hmm.
These people have been uncontacted for thousands of years. I shouldn't say uncontacted. They've had some rough run-ins,
Yeah.
but for the most part, they've lived the same for the last, for thousands of years. So there's a law in place where you're not allowed to go within 3 miles of their island. And this guy for YouTube, who goes to a lot of exotic places, and his name's pretty crazy. I'm not even going to attempt it. I got real Russian vibes from the name, whatever it is. So
Okay.
he goes to crazy places that nobody goes to and like documents it. It's kind of cool. Anyhow, he had tried 2 other times, failed, and then finally got there on an inflatable raft. And with him, he took a Diet Coke and a coconut as offerings to the people.
Oh,
So he went there. He actually made it, landed there, brought a whistle, started blowing it to try and get attention, was there for like an hour, filmed some stuff, took some samples from the beach, whatever he found, trinkets and whatnot, left the offering, and left because nobody came for like an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yep. No.
Oh, he left.
Yep.
They didn't shoot arrows straight through his
That's
skull
what I was waiting
like
for.
the other guy?
Right.
Yeah.
I'll get to that. So he leaves. A couple local fishermen spot him, and they're like, called it into authorities. Like, hey, this guy was coming from that island. We could see where he was. And he got arrested, and now he's looking at facing up to 5 years in prison, plus a fine
In India?
in India.
Oh.
Yep. He's from Arizona.
Oh, he's not. Oh.
Yeah, he's American.
Yikes.
So,
that sucks.
yeah. I read that in the New Delhi Press, which I thought was
No matter where you're at,
Get out of the
international
country.
prison is no fun.
No.
Now,
I think prison's generally not fun, but
Yeah.
I'd rather
It's-
be stuck in America.
As I get older, it seems like any country can get you for whatever you want. So it's
as we get
beyond
ready
terrifying.
as we
Traveling
get ready to
on
go to
risk.
South Africa, who specifically hates us right now.
And we are terrified.
So a couple things I took from this. The first thing is the fact that it's a 3-mile radius. When you look at the ocean, you can see 3 miles.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So they're seeing shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's the thing that always is so weird to me about it is like they have to like see like cruise ships or freighters go by and they just no, they don't wonder what's out there.
maybe I know, and maybe they do. Well,
Yeah.
in 2018, a guy went there to try and convert them all to Christianity. As soon as he got off the boat, he was flooded with arrows, killed.
Killed?
Okay? Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
In 2006, 2 fishermen accidentally washed up ashore there by accident, and they all got killed.
Oh, man.
So, sounds like the priest guy too, they shot him with arrows and then they buried him on the beach.
Ooh.
So I don't know what that's about. In other research, it sounds like there may have been creepy white people that went there back in the day and did like gay sex stuff to him and Like
Oh,
they were like
I've read that too.
Really?
Yes.
that they were like doctors and stuff, and because of that, intercourse stuff to them as both boys, and
Well, I
did
think
like all these weird tests and measuring their penises and all kinds of weird stuff.
yeah.
So then he like gave them diseases too, and they ended up killing him or something, and now they're like no more outsiders.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that is true, but that was like documented by people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine showing up to that place? Imagine if you could fly a helicopter and you just start flying that thing right over the trees, right over where they sleep. They're gonna be like, "What?"
Oh,
They'll think you're a god.
they're chucking arrows up.
Well, the other thing is Diet Coke.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you go regular?
And why is he going along?
Also, they wouldn't like that.
Right. Have you ever seen a kid try Coke for the first time? They don't like it.
I don't.
But especially Diet Coke.
I
It's so
agree.
chemically.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah. I like it.
There's
worst.
been
What's with you and the Diet Coke?
they've like dumped off fruit and foods and stuff like that before to the island, but they're not. People have done that, but they're not supposed to. Because at least they know what it is. I mean, for them, seeing a metal can would be like
Yeah. Well, they just
Nice,
probably
yeah.
bust it open and then.
they're not going to just start drinking it.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Black
Brown
liquid.
water.
Yeah, Brett.
And you know what? I wonder if they have coconuts there. Maybe the coconut was also a foreign thing to them.
Probably. I would guess that they have coconuts.
Yeah,
Those are kind of everywhere in tropical
That's a
areas.
bold thing to embark on.
yeah,
Wild.
So now, what's the? He just is waiting.
yeah. It's like 14 days from it. He goes to trial, which I think is April 16th or 17th. So he's probably whether he gets 5 years or not. I don't know. People are really adamant about there's like, do not go there.
Yeah.
Like leave these people alone, mainly because they don't have vaccinations. They've been uncontacted for thousands of years. They're very susceptible to diseases. It could be like we show up there, you spend a week with them and kill everybody.
yeah. Yeah.
Just by accident.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like why they want to leave them alone. And I was thinking, it's like, you know how people see like alien ships and stuff like that and they see spaceships?
Yep.
But just once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be funny if like around us is like there's a border because we're the primitive tribe,
Oh, that's funny.
like our planet is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like there's a
I like
couple
that.
of these idiot YouTuber aliens that come in and document it, but they get in trouble. And we got no
That's
idea.
the movie.
that's pretty funny.
There's the movie.
And we'd shoot them probably.
That,
So
that makes me think of Men in Black when they're like Orion's belt and they're like zooming out and it
Keeps going
just
out.
keeps going and going and going.
yeah, that's like a marble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, such a good movie.
That's a great
That's
one.
wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
I hope he gets out of the country, man. That's scary.
I know.
Yeah, are we rooting for him to get away? I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I wouldn't want anyone to get stuck there.
No.
As a fellow American.
At
No,
least,
I-
at least
Permanent
good
curry
sandwiches.
well, he is like I'll be honest, we're one group alone. Everyone hates him right now.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you could have killed those people, which is true. That's messed up. But the exploring aspect of me, like if you could go there knowing you weren't going to die and you weren't going to kill anybody,
There you go.
I'd want to go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And does he have plausible deniability and be like, I didn't know?
They said he tried to go. This is his third time trying to go. He knows he's not supposed to go.
And that's never a good defense when you're doing something international.
know.
Oh, sorry, I had no idea. Oh, okay, well then you're good to go. Okay, get out of here.
Yeah. Tell
We
Turks and
wouldn't do that.
Caicos.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's rough.
Turks and Caicos is taking no prisoners or taking prisoners.
Taking prisoners.
Yeah.
Why? What?
The island.
There's been a couple people that accidentally. One guy had a rifle round from hunting.
Oh, I did hear
That's-
about this.
That's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
island.
No.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Dominican-
Turks and Caicos is what it
Okay,
is. It's
yeah.
not North Centennial.
No, no.
So
but is it an island though?
Turks and Caicos is, yeah.
Okay.
And anyhow, so he goes there, and he just had a rifle round that made it through everything in his luggage, not his carry-on, his luggage, because it just from hunting season or whatever. And
Yeah.
they found it, put him in prison.
Oh,
He
good.
was in there for a long time too, and like we had to fight to get him out. And it happened to like 2 or 3 people back to back to back.
What
He was like
happens?
with his family. He didn't see his family for like a year because of it. He had 2 like
Stop
couple
it,
little girls. Yeah,
people.
it's crazy.
Wild.
It's not
Does
America.
the American government try to like help you?
Yeah, they did.
I hope so.
But here's the thing, and people can say what they like or don't like about Trump. If Trump would have been in office when that happened, that would have been handled so quickly. People can say what they want, but he is like on top of that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can disagree on everything else, but he's on top of.
No one's going to
getting our
take
people back.
advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like that basketball player that was in Russia, I think,
Oh,
and
smoked
had
weed.
Had a little
Right.
bit of weed. The funny thing is, though, is like, okay, the guy bringing the bullet, accidental, obviously didn't mean to bring it. That's illegal to have in the United States.
Didn't even have a gun.
Maybe it's not illegal to have in Turks and Caicos. But what was going to be her
think you
argument?
mixed that up.
No. But what was the girl who'd had weed? What was her argument? Because even
I
if
hope
it's illegal by state, it's not illegal in the United States as a whole.
not
So you
legal in
can't
the air either.
You can't even have like sorry, it's legal.
Yeah, you can't
it's
fly
legal
with
where
that.
I'm from, and my bad. Like there's no defense there.
And Russia's like, okay,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, your adventure starts here. Savage Arms, better comes standard. Nosler Ammunition, world's finest bullets, ammunition, and brass. Boss Shot Shells, superior made and American made. Carlson's Choke Tubes, the only choke tube we've ever purchased. Onyx Hunt, know where you stand.
The best way to connect with the outdoors is to get outdoors. From setting up trail cameras and tending food plots to getting to your spot before dawn. At every point of the hunting season, a Tracker Off-Road ATV or side-by-side can be counted on to get the job done. Enjoy American-made quality and the great outdoors without breaking the bank. Tracker Off-Road, built for the love of country.
For every purpose, for every path, for every soul, for every season, there's a Ram.
Introducing Renegade, the all-new and American-made semi-auto shotgun from Savage. Made for shooters who put performance above pedigree and don't follow the crowd. From stock to muzzle, it's built to cycle without fail and without compromise. That's the Renegade's way. Only from Savage, where better comes standard.
I have found, I think we may have talked about this a long time ago, or we talked about it privately, but there's this account I follow on Instagram called, I believe it's called It's Colossal, and the company is called Colossal. And what they're trying to do as a company
Just make a very small. No, I'm just kidding. Their name's Colossal.
Yep.
I have some points here. Who's behind Colossal Biosciences? The company is fully dedicated to de-extinction. So,
Oh,
yes.
Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yes, yes.
Dun, dun.
Taking dinosaur
co-
DNA.
Co-founded by Ben Lamb and Dr. George Church. They've raised over $225 million in funding. One of their projects is bringing back the woolly mammoth. One of them is the Tasmanian tiger. One of them is the dodo.
Oh, nice.
And one of them is the dire wolf.
The dodo bird. That was like a viral video for us, by the way. We did a reel on the dodo bird. And it went crazy.
Yeah, I did.
Direwolf isn't real. That's a thing from Game of Thrones. They're also going to bring back dragons.
Dire wolf? Never even heard of
The
it.
dire wolf is, I guess it's a North American wolf that
Dragons in the
went
Bible.
extinct like 13,000 years ago.
like a mega fauna, like one of the like really big. There used to be a giant sloth. There
Yep.
used to be a giant whatever.
So,
Yeah.
so they're bringing back,
They're trying to.
okay, through like literally Jurassic Park.
Well, what? Yeah, like they find old DNA buried in the ground, and
Do it again, Jeff.
then
The DNA.
Dinosaur DNA.
good.
I'll just point every time I want to hear it.
Yep.
So they're working on the mammoth, Tasmanian tiger, dodo, and dire wolf, aiming to use this tech for endangered species too. So if they can figure this out, if we have something that's on the brink of extinction, we might be able to.
Take as much blood as they took from Jeff today for the blokes test.
Like the northern white rhino.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
2 females left, and that's it.
And from
Bring 'em back.
From what I understand, is it has
You're gonna have to take one for the team then, so they can keep
going.
keep
From what I understand, they have to have a relatively close living relative.
Okay.
Like, so the mammoth would be the Asian elephant,
Mhm.
and that's its. Which is funny because where the mammoths were Russia area.
Mhm.
So they were next door neighbors.
So they're combining the DNA with the two.
Yep. Yes.
And they would still need something to like give birth to it. So
Frogs.
One of the other topics, like one of the headlines on it, is conservation and culture impact. So helps biodiversity, can restore extinct genes to endangered species, integrating indigenous knowledge with modern science. Public fascination is one of the top points that they have too.
Rise E-top.
Game of Thrones made the direwolf pop culture icon.
There you go, Jeff.
Sure.
So
Yeah. The more people are excited about bringing something back, the more funding there probably would be available. People
Right.
want
They just
you know.
end up in a zoo.
Kickstarter for a woolly mammoth.
You could still, if they could raise 100 dodos, and I could wipe them out in 20 minutes.
with a golf club.
Threw him off the cliff.
Who's hungry?
So before we get into like how well they're doing with this, what are our thoughts on bringing back? Like, think of all the implications that bringing back megafauna could have on the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Well,
to me,
Is it good or bad?
well, megafauna in the ecosystem we know from the bison episode is a good thing,
Okay.
right? So like the bison
I
are
thought-
responsible.
I thought a bit was coming.
No, I know I'm too sick for it. I'll point at him when I want to hear the thing, but
Dinosaur D. Oh, sorry, you pointed.
the perfect. When bison are covering the landscape, they collect seeds and they move seeds, and their dung helps spread seeds or grow seeds and that sort of thing. And like the impact that they have is so good. And they eat the things that allow the grasses to be able to grow properly, and they just have so many benefits to the landscape
yeah, that's true.
that really helped the prairies for such a long time through Oklahoma and all the other states. So we know that they were very beneficial. We also know that they acted as food sources, not just the bison, but as you talk about the megafauna for our ancestors. So there's a lot of positives. However, this is not the same landscape that they lived in.
Yep.
Right.
Here's my thing. I'm very reluctant because we have no idea the negative impacts that could possibly happen. However, at the same time, it's kind of exciting,
Oh yeah, big time.
but I think the negatives could outweigh the positives. I think instead you should use the technology on stuff like the white rhino.
Mhm.
I think that should be the main focus of the whole company, is focusing on something like the white rhino, which is almost gone, and you've got enough to deal with now that you might be able to save it.
I can
like
see
that.
it. I agree. I can see it also from the business perspective. Think about how are we going to get funding from this? No one cares about the white rhino now.
Well,
Let's
there,
You see 10 of them come back, then
what I'm saying is like they're almost extinct now due to how people have treated them
Yep.
or how the climate
Well,
has been.
that's a complicated war, though. There's enough people that care. There's not enough people that know how to care, because people like on the hunting side and the PETA side, right? Two very different groups. The hunting side is always the side that is actually going to make financial, life-altering consequence change to species. It's like when the lion almost goes extinct because they got rid of hunting, they bring back hunting, they bring back the populations because the funding goes towards them, the entire conservation model that we know so well. I think there is enough people that would be really pumped about the rhino. And not excluding the poachers.
Yeah, well, my point being is like, how excited are they? How many people do you know that have donated money? Where's the funding coming from?
That's why hunting matters.
And I'm saying from their Colossal's perspective, that's why the mammoth matters.
Gotcha.
We bring back the mammoth.
They want to see that.
We'll give you the money.
Yeah, it's definitely like they're like the hotter chick of the.
But are they brought back to be amusements, or are we gonna make a refuge for them? Or I mean,
that's an interesting point. Is there's already a park being set up there's a park in Russia that is prepping for them.
Yeah, and it's just an island, right? And then they're gonna start with dinosaurs.
Actually, what's really interesting is the last known living population of mammoths was on an island because they were just untouched, so nothing wiped them out.
From a marketing perspective, if you got the balls to call it Jurassic Park, regardless of whether there's dinosaurs or not, talk about. I mean, you'd sell tickets. Yeah, like nobody's business. Right. So it's going to be
5,000 a day, 10,000 a day.
It's going to be a big zoo.
People will buy it.
So with the Russian park, they're prepping for it.
Right.
Getting ready that they're coming. And the idea is that the tundra out there, like you were saying with the bison, is like it's not what it used to be, where it used to be very grassy and lush. And now it sounds like it's just like a field of moss. Like it's nothing because there's nothing out there to move these seeds and nutrients around.
It could actually help quite a bit.
Yeah.
I like the bison bit you had, and that makes sense.
I can see that working on a non predator level, but now thinking about the direwolf, like introducing a predator that's probably the meanest and baddest North America's ever seen.
How do they portray it in Game of Thrones?
I actually have never heard of this animal. Everyone here knows about it, but I don't.
I never heard of it.
They know about it from Game of Thrones.
In Game of Thrones, there were only some that were known, and they were all pets.
Oh,
so
that in Game of Thrones,
pets
it was like this.
Yeah, easy, Michael Vick.
Even in Game of Thrones, it was like I
didn't forget.
It was crazy that the family was able to make them as pets, but no one had ever seen them previous to that. They're like, oh, direwolves aren't around anymore, and they're these very strong, elusive creatures that are killing machines. Like they were crazy.
It's like some people.
That's basically what they are in real life.
It's some people with coyotes where like they'll get them as like a pup, and then they think that because it's a baby and it knows me as its mom,
it's biting every day.
Raise it, and then 6 months later, once it starts getting going, it like bites them, and then now you got to get rid of it.
Yep.
I mean, even Bree, who's raising raccoons, she's got 2 raccoons she got as babies. They've never met raccoons outside of each other. So, like, no wild behavior, no nothing, no interactions. And I'm like, well, she's like, he's so cuddly and he's so sweet. I'm like, does she bite? She's like, every day. It's like, it's just.
They still have natural instincts. They're still going to get into your garbage.
So, what is it birthing from then? Like
the mammoth?
Yeah. Like the wolf.
From wolves we have now.
It is from.
So that's another point of
like a liger.
Yeah, then that's kind of discussion. Is it really? They'll admit and they'll be like, this isn't really a dire wolf, but it is close. It is really close to what it was because you're taking a animal that still exists today and mixing it together.
Right.
So, I mean, if they made a mammoth, a giant, hairy, 15-foot long tusk animal that can survive in the winter time, you're not gonna be like, that's not a mammoth. You'd say that's a mammoth.
That's true.
Yeah.
To Kyle's point, the landscape it's coming back. It's just like Jurassic Park. It's coming back in an environment that it's not used to. And
when we were in Hawaii, we went there, and when we were talking to the folks there, and we are doing the research on the goats as well as the rams, the big problem is a lot of the plants over time have never, on those islands, especially the Big Island, have never been they've never had to deal with grazers.
Yeah.
So they're not prepared for it.
Right.
So they can just wipe out the ecosystem, make it a desert. So, there's also fear of stuff like that. It's just very complicated.
Yeah, that to me, like there's been too many examples where we've decided what we think is right, and maybe we overhunted something or whatever, and we're going to bring it back, or we're going to try to control this by bringing in this, and it almost never works out well.
I mean, look at the Great Lakes. It's nothing big. It's nothing more than a giant aquarium.
Yeah.
Like we've like I mean, even like we were talking about when we were catching the lake trout there, they're like, yeah, they taste different because this population went away of this minnow species that we introduced, which used to make them greasy, but now they're not because now they're eating this other thing we introduced.
Yeah.
And then it's just, I mean, it's
You have to look at
the Great Lakes are an aquarium. We've added so many things to there. There's
so
very
many- Right,
there's
I forgot
very
about that.
few. It is not what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And if you're bringing back something, what's the difference between bringing it back and cloning something? Like those sheep from back in the day.
You're literally basically
That-
cloning.
Pretty much.
That
the same
is
thing.
another thing. Is like, what is the ethics of that?
Yeah, what's the bit?
Ethics of cloning.
Yeah, there's like a lot of discussion about whether it's you should do it or not.
Mhm.
Which I mean,
I
I think
still
if
don't get
something's
it.
on the brink of extinction, you should do it.
Yeah.
If it's something like what? I
Especially if
don't know.
we caused
I
it
don't think
by,
you should do it to
either
humans.
overhunting or poaching or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the next step. You know, maybe this is the beginning step of
Yeah.
what's to come. Who knows?
I don't think we'll ever get there. I think people will be too freaked out by it.
Yeah.
I would say going back to the
they're working on head transplants right now. I just watched.
We're freezing people.
I watched
so.
it. They're eating the pets. They're working on head transplants right now, and they think they're 9 years away from it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they said that a brain would actually live probably fine for about 300 years if it had a good body.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That's cool.
Ted
So you-
Williams is frozen.
That one guy's working on it with he's taking stuff from his son and injecting it into himself. It's like a billionaire, and he's like
Adrenochrome.
trying to extend his
exactly.
life
Adrenochrome.
by taking stuff from his son to make himself younger.
Stem cells.
Yeah,
Does
pretty
he-
wild.
Yeah.
That happens in an episode of Roswell, but you guys never got that far.
I don't want to get too far off topic because there's more to this story. This Colossal.
Your cliffhanger.
So they were able to take DNA we're going back to the dire wolf because that's one of the projects they're working on. They were able to take DNA from a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 72,000-year-old skull. They edited the modern gray wolf DNA to match the dire wolf genome.
Ugh.
They were
They did it themselves.
what?
That just sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Well,
They're just linking stuff.
Yeah.
they were successful.
The thing's born speaks perfect English.
The dire wolves are here and they're alive.
They're here.
They're puppies and they're alive.
Oh, hey.
10,000 years. Is that what that said?
We have Romulus and Remus.
Who's naming
Or
these?
Remus. Ignoramus.
Here's them howling.
Looks like little polar bears. Uh-oh.
Yeah, this
It's like
is
the beginning. Yeah, it is like a scary movie.
You've
That's
only
pretty
killed
cool.
two
They're super-
people so far. So
Yep.
that's great.
So they've got dire wolves now that are around.
Yep, we've got them here. So I
How much different do they look than our normal wolves?
well, I don't know. They're puppies.
Well, there's got to be a
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. What do they look like?
Just like really
Are they
big
super
wolves.
long? Are they taller? Are they meaner in the face?
I think Game of Thrones. I think they just used literal wolves and then just
Yeah.
made them bigger. So I,
Okay.
yeah,
To be
it's hard
fair, I think all of this is a guess. Unless you've seen it with your naked eye, you can look at the skull. You can look at the.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. I don't know. It's tough.
What's amazing is you said a skull and a tooth.
Yeah,
They pulled the DNA from that,
and then
messed with the
And-
regular wolves,
yep.
and I wonder if it would be like, are they like the Firebirds, and then the
Nice.
Trans Am is like,
Yep.
okay, you're not me, cutie. Okay, you little V6.
Yep.
Is it like
Good
that?
reference.
Thank you.
I believe I read that the dire wolf is 25% larger than the gray wolf.
We're 50 years from humans, no question.
And again, if all we have is a skull and a tooth, how do we even know that?
The gray wolf is the biggest wolf. So
That
the
we've
dire
got
wolf-
right now.
Yeah, that is out there, and these are
Direwolf
They can be up-
escapes from lab in Syracuse.
The wolf zombies was not on my end of the world bingo card.
No.
an adult gray wolf can be up to 175 pounds. The gray wolves.
I mean, that's a
the,
big
the, di-
deer.
the dire wolves they think are about 25% larger than that. So we're in the 200 range
yeah.
dog
Yeah.
Jeez.
predator. That's crazy.
Mega fun.
Yeah, but they're pets right now, so they'll be all right.
Yeah. You sit, shake.
Yeah,
This dog as tall as you.
We're getting there.
I'll never understand our fascination with like predators specifically. Like, man, we got to get wolves back on this landscape. It's like, why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the megafauna. It's a food source. It's a renewable resource. It helps the environment, probably.
I want to see them do the giant sloth. How big?
Giant sloth.
It was
What's
real.
it gonna do? Where's it gonna go?
Yeah. Sleep all day.
Yeah. It's
Whoa.
funny that's the thing you're excited
They
about.
say the giant sloth is well. Some reach lengths of up to 20 feet. And,
Wow.
and
Sloth.
it weighs several tons.
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 Where are you going to feed it?
What
Like,
tree's
keep
gonna
it?
hold that?
That's
Wow.
what they say it looked like.
Wow.
That's Big
Yeah.
Sid the Sloth.
Yeah, they're gonna have to keep them in California because that's the only place with trees big enough to hold them.
That's
This
true.
is genuinely fascinating.
Here's a skeleton of one.
That's
That'd
great.
be awesome. That would be really cool to see. Non-predator too.
It's going to be funny if they were
Easily.
fast.
Oh yeah. I mean, probably faster than a regular sloth. I would hope.
The old 3-finger.
They said that about the the mammoth too. That they can eat. They suspect they could eat up to 300 pounds of plants a day.
Yeah, and what does that look like?
Yeah, and
We already got... Put them in Kruger National Park with... no, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
That's the thing. If you put them back in the environment, I get if you could put them on some kind of refuge or something, and hopefully they don't get out. But if they do, what
They
current
always get
species are
out.
they now
I don't-
impacting?
that's the thing
Because
with-
they're competing with other things now.
Well,
So-
there is areas, though, that I think megafauna would be helpful.
I think the Russian landscape, the tundra, is what it would be good for because there's nothing
nothing.
there.
Yeah. And
yeah, they're not going to compete with current
And
elephants.
their
There
whole
has to be enough food to eat.
Canada too.
yeah, and their whole thing was like
Alaska.
that it doesn't. The landscape isn't what it was, and if we did have them, we'd be able to start supplementing that back, getting that back. They're like they would be transforming the landscape back into what it
Mhm.
was.
Right. The
Just
way that we hope, like, we use cows to do that now for what bison used to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting. And of course, they got to do the predators first. Dodos would be cool too. Get a
That's,
pet dodo.
It
I
is.
just never understand why it's always the frickin' predators. It's like the one thing that's going to compete with us. Let's do that one.
Like in that list, that why was the wolf the one that got to be made?
That's why the one good thing when they were trying to do cloning, they're like, we're going to do a sheep. Okay, good. Because what's that sheep going to do?
And I
You
still
know?
don't get the whole cloning thing. I don't like. You're telling me in one sector it's the actual sheep, and then they zap it, and it's like I don't know.
Dinosaur DNA.
Explain.
Because I
how it
remember
works,
this from
though.
like 2001. They were cloned the sheep, or maybe even the 90s.
It was
I still don't
Dolly
know.
the sheep. It was in the it was either
Yes.
late 90s or very
Yeah.
early
Like
2000s.
97.
And they took a sheep and took its exact DNA, and I think they embedded it into either embryos or
1996.
eggs or whatever,
Little
and then
beaker.
put it in a sheep, had it, basically in vitro fertilization.
Okay,
kit.
okay.
And then it gave birth, and then they tested its DNA, and they're like, "See, it's the same." No way.
I never understood how
Okay.
it
Yeah,
how it was created. If
it's one step closer
in
to
vitro.
We'll be able
with
to
a sheep.
remake Gandhi. We'll be able to remake,
Right.
and I'm sure he'll be the same. He won't be a different guy because he's in a different time. Wow.
Yeah. Now he's racist.
He's never going to live up to old Gandhi.
We
New
can't
Gandhi's
win.
not the same.
No, no. Dolly the sheep.
What confuses me about the whole thing too is like, if we make it, like, that's not God making it specifically, or is God working through us? Like, does that thing have a soul? Like if you did it with Gandhi, for instance, and he comes, all he has is the same physical features as the original Gandhi.
Yeah.
That's all he has. But where's the soul come into it?
Right.
Or is God gonna be like, enough's enough before that happens? And
I
he's
think
gonna
so.
come back? Yeah.
I don't think it gets there. I think there's too many people out there to be like, whoa, this is
Dire
not
wolf
right.
zombies will get us all before
This
then.
is not
I
right.
think we may see
think
it.
this
in
is
a lifetime.
I don't. No way.
I think this is
No
great.
way.
This is a clear indication that they're heading that way.
I think that
They're on the
ethics of it
road.
are we'd be cloning people then.
I agree.
I think
We
that's what
we can do it.
What do you mean?
We can do it right
in
now.
vitro?
No, we can clone. They clone the sheep.
Right.
That's not in vitro. In vitro is not cloning.
No.
In vitro,
Cloning was 25, and that was 25 years ago. Can you imagine like how other things have progressed over the last 25 years?
Well, that's the bit,
what they
though.
can probably
What
do
is
with cloning,
cloning,
and
then?
we don't even know.
If it's not that, if it's not in
I
vitro,
can try to read it to you. It's difficult to understand. Dolly
You're
was
about as mad as I was with the dog.
glands.
Glands, yeah.
Dolly was
No
created.
one's answering you.
Dolly was created by scientists at the Rosalind Institute. Oh, this happened in Scotland.
Mhm.
through using a technique called somatic cell nuclear transfer. They took
Yeah, AJ.
They took a nucleus containing genetic information from a cell within the mammary gland of an adult sheep and inserted it into an unfertilized egg cell from which the nucleus had been removed. So they're like replacing pieces and chunks. It's not like egg sperm.
Right.
Like that's what in vitro is they take an egg and then a tiny needle and then inject a sperm into it.
So they put it into a blank thing and it blossoms, and then because it's not natural, it's clone.
Yeah, because it was from a different animal. They took this piece of information, took a little chunk of this animal, and put this information, this brain of information, into this one, and then it grows into what it is.
At the end of the day, it's still growing. It's still growing inside an animal who's acting as like the incubator.
Okay,
it's a surrogate.
That was on Final Jeopardy last night.
I just
Phoebe.
I don't think that they would do this to
Phoebe
humans.
did that in Friends. Wasn't she a surrogate?
Oh
yes. Yes.
Forgot about that. So
it's a wild reference.
It's pretty cool, but also freaky. I'd like to see a mammoth one day, though.
Yeah, we're on the road to something.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, your adventure starts here. Savage Arms, Nosler Ammunition, Bosch Shot Shells, Wilderness Athlete, fuel for the rugged, Tracker Boats, fish the finest, Eagle Fishing, designed for the savvy angler, Rufus Teague barbecues, snacks, and spices, Rectech Grills, it's more than a grill, it's a way of life, Sea-Doo, make your own waves, LEM Products, motivating people to hunt, process, and prepare their own food, Quiet Cat, the leader in electronic bikes for hunting, fishing, camping, and exploring. Consistency. That's what you aim for with every practice shot. So when you're out in the field, you get that same consistency every shot. With Carlson's choke tubes, consistency is what you'll get. Our choke tubes are long-lasting, high quality, and made right here in the USA. Carlson's choke tubes, pattern tested, hunter approved. Find out more at choketube.com.
Are you anxious to get going? Knowing that the clock is ticking and time truly is the most precious commodity in the world? Then you, my friend, are in good company.
Going off of, we kind of talked about the white rhino a bit. We are prepping for our trip to South Africa, and I thought it would be interesting as I've been looking into information for we're going to be there for 3 weeks, so we got to know a lot. We got to be prepared. And while looking it up, I found one of the most famous trips to Africa, which I thought would be a neat discussion to have to belittle whatever it is we're going to do. In 1909,
oh boy,
shortly after he lost his bid for re-election, Teddy Roosevelt, the 26th president, he got sponsored by Smithsonian and funded by Andrew Carnegie, he's a steel guy.
Yeah, Andrew Carnegie's amazing.
Yeah. To do a
is he the motivational speaker?
No, he was in a lot of motivational speeches that I've had you listen to.
Okay.
Because thinking of Dale Carnegie, who wrote
I am.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay. I don't know which one.
Andrew Carnegie was a brilliant businessman, and the people that wrote Think and Grow Rich interviewed him to help create the philosophy in Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
Yeah. So big name Carnegie.
Anyway.
But Teddy Roosevelt, along with a whole bunch of other people, went on this expedition to Africa in order to collect specimens, because we don't know that much at the time about the different fauna in Africa. So they go to collect specimens. It's Teddy Roosevelt and then a whole bunch of experts. There's an Australian sharpshooter. There is a taxidermist from Stanford. Makes me wonder if Stanford has a taxidermy.
Did
do they still have it?
Like, do they still do that? But like,
it's California.
That's a good taxidermist, or maybe not. Who knows? But it's all these different experts.
He minored in it
and took them in 1909 to Africa. They explored for a year and a half, and they brought back 11,400 different animals.
Whoa.
Was he
to be
sitting president then?
Dead or alive?
No, it was. I think they left like 19 days after he lost the bid for re-election.
Okay.
Dead or alive? And he had that trip planned ahead of time then.
Yeah. Nice.
Dead because
Oh, yeah.
they brought a taxidermist with him from Stanford. So,
okay.
So the goal was to bring back as many specimens as they could to be able to have these in museums, lions, giraffes, all the other stuff. So they go, and like I said, they brought back 11,400 animals. There were 4,000 birds.
I can't get my kudu back though.
Yeah.
2,000 reptiles and amphibians, 500 fish, 5,000 mammals, and then just in addition to that, they also brought back all sorts of shells, crabs, beetles, other invertebrates, and then plants. Altogether, they brought back 23,000 things to put into a museum.
On the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. No, that was
Nice.
And think
Columbus
about
ships.
that. Taxidermy at the time was nowhere near as developed as it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the
I
basics down.
disagree. You know what?
They got the basics down.
Not
You
the
know what's
guy-
really
not
funny
the
is
guy in
nowadays they couldn't pull it off because the taxidermist would tell you it'd be 3 years before you can get your deer back.
Or he throws
Yeah, I don't know.
hands up.
How are
I've
they-
got
how
so
are
much
they-
work.
How long was the expedition?
It was from March of 1909 to June, I think, of 1910. So it was a year, including travel.
long
it
boat
was
ride.
a year and 3 months.
Hmm.
And during that
Probably a month
time,
of travel, right?
It has to be.
it was a good bit.
We were complaining over
They
a
had to
13-hour
go
flight
from-
out of Atlanta.
They had to go from the U.S. to Naples, which is in Italy, and then from there down to starts with an M, Mombasa. I think.
Mumbai?
Mombasa.
Mozambique.
Want to see?
Anyways,
But
Mozambique?
anyways, and then they traveled around Africa and gathered these different things. Now, Roosevelt also brought his son, Kermit. Hey, Dad, let's go get a lion.
Jump off this cliff.
But between just Teddy Roosevelt and his son Kermit, just between the two of them, they harvested 43 birds, 18 lions, 3 leopards, 6 cheetah, 10 hyena, 12 elephants, 10 buffalo, 9 black rhino, which are now critically endangered. There's I think
we go,
3,000
Colossal.
3,000 of them left.
Colossal.
no, they
and-
won't touch it because it doesn't have teeth.
and 97 white rhinos, which the white rhino, one of the two subspecies, I think it's the northern one, is there's only 2 left. The other one, there's like 16,000. So they're not as endangered, but not looking great either.
They're on their way.
Yeah. But they, they brought back all of these different critters taxidermied. In order to taxidermy them, they had to bring borax with them because that was,
Yeah.
Barkeeper's friend.
biggest time. I think they still use that for
Yeah, I used it.
They
a
do
lot of
use it.
taxidermy. Yeah,
I
yeah.
used it on that turkey I did.
Oh, nice.
The skin.
Ones
So
in the
you
garage.
make homemade slime too?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that turkey? Because I'm 50-50.
I'm
I'm putting
about
it on
done
my
with it.
decoy this year.
Do it.
Really?
Yeah, if you want it.
Sweet. Yeah.
You can do that.
He's got this thing hanging in the garage for a couple years now, and
I still think you should get it framed, like we saw at NWTF.
I do. The next turkey I get, I think I'm probably going to do that. Put it in a frame like that.
I would try with this.
that is a nice top.
because if you want to use a tail for a decoy, I've got one at the house. The fan that I salted that you can just
Do the Ray
yeah,
thing?
you shake it and they're like, oh my god, a turkey. But yeah, to go with the borax, they brought 4 tons of salt. 4 tons of salt. And then the
What a voyage.
12,000 animals they brought back, it took the Smithsonian 8 years to process and
Now that's a
catalog all
taxidermy
of
I
them.
know.
Yeah, that's right.
And there are some still available that you can see today at the National Museum of Natural History in Washington D.C.,
Oh, I
including
thought
one
you
of
said-
the
I'd
one
go
of
there.
the white rhinos.
That's cool. I'd like to go see that.
I
I
would love
was
to.
hoping you were going to say New York because I've been to that one.
Yeah.
That's actually so fascinating. You can go see there now.
And
That's the coolest bit.
That just goes to show if you want to get a taxidermist, get one from Stanford.
Everyone call
1909.
call Stanford and ask them.
What's your taxidermy program?
One other, just a random note that I found while I was looking into this was the Australian sharpshooter who was one of the kind of guides that came along for the trip.
The hunter.
He was Kermit's babysitter, and you know it.
He was obviously a big guide and hunter in Africa, and later took Saxton Pope of Pope and Young fame to Africa to do hunts.
Who is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pope and Young is like the grading scale for I think it's
Mounts.
it's like different. It's like white-tailed deer and a bunch of other stuff, but it's archery specific. And Saxton Pope, being a big archery guy, wants to go to Africa and hunt all these different things with.
The Pope and
just
Young
archery.
Club is a bow hunting organization that promotes fair chase and conservation, maintaining a record book for North American big game animals harvested with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And advocating for the preservation of bow hunting heritage.
So takes this archery guy to Africa, kills 8 lions just via bow and arrow. And this is in very early 1900s. I think it's 1925 when he went.
Shitty
So
bows.
not that great. You got to be pretty close to him. And Saxton Pope had to dissuade, the sharpshooter had to dissuade Saxton Pope from also
He
trying
got
to
him
go
naked?
for trying to go for elephants, rhinos, and I think maybe the other one was a cheetah, because it was like, you're not to get that close to an elephant and then try to take it with bow and arrow. You're just gonna make it angry.
Their skin's tough.
You're not gonna take it with a bow
Especially
and arrow.
then.
So he had to like fight him to get him to not go out and try to take an elephant with a bow and arrow.
Jeez. Nowadays, you might be able to with the arrows. I just don't know if. At some point, too.
What's the
Like alligator skin?
ethically? what
Yeah,
is that like?
I support hunting and fishing of all kinds. I just think, I don't know. I think I err on the side of like, let's be real efficient.
Yeah.
And I like a bow and arrow to kill a deer is very efficient.
Yeah.
Bow and arrow to kill a rhino is it efficient? I like the word efficient for ethical.
Yeah.
Efficient.
Are you gonna take it humanely? Probably not.
So we're gonna have to get one more animal than Roosevelt while we're there.
Mm-hmm.
And but we are excited about the Africa trip. We're going to be gone for most of the month of May, having that experience of a lifetime, and I've always wanted to go there and see it. I can't imagine we're going to see real elephants. We're going to see giraffes. We're going to see hippos. We're going to see kudu. We're going to see impalas. We're going to meet people. The thought of it is, we've gone so many places. This one has me fired up like I haven't been in forever.
Yeah, it's wild.
I'm excited about it. And you're saying he got fish too,
Mhm.
but they don't really talk about that much. We're actually going tiger fish fishing,
Mhm.
and there's a picture of one on the screen right now.
You can't say just tiger fishing because that'll upset people.
Yeah. Hey, if they're in the water, they're fair game. But yeah, it's gonna be a special
Use a
trip,
grapple hook on them.
and I expect that those episodes for History Channel are gonna be insane. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for tuning in to the Green Outdoors podcast. We are right here every single week. We try to release the podcast on Mondays unless Jeff messes something up. So you can find it here if you're just listening to it on Spotify or Google Play or anything like that. There's a video version on YouTube that we'd love to share with you. Don't forget about historychannel.com, where you can find seasons 1 and 2 of our History Channel series right now. How-to videos, podcasts, vlogs. Vlogs are coming out every Friday right now on our YouTube channel. We've got so much on our YouTube. It's been exploding over the last few weeks. So check us out on YouTube. Check us out on History Channel. And, of course, don't forget that Waypoint TV, we're doing a launch there for the History Channel series as well. So you'll be able to see it there for free. It's going to be streaming on Waypoint on Tuesdays. But the very first episode is actually going to be on Wednesday. And it's going to be at what time, Jeff?
It's going to be at 9 p.m. on April 9th.
On April 9th. So that will be
Nice.
the bear episode. It's an exclusive you've never seen before. It's not on History Channel. It's not anywhere else. It's the only way you'll be able to see it. So check that out. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.